Hey guys, Mike here. Today we're going to do a watch review video on two Omega Seamasters. One is a 2018 model and one is a 2003 model. Before we get started, I want to do a customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing the Seiko SRPD 79K1. It's their new, basically street version of their fashion diver watch line. It's got the PVD black coating on it. I've had this watch for about 2 weeks now. I basically wear it to work every day. It has the 4R36 movement, so very reliable, very robust. 120 click unidirectional bezel. I will say the bezel is kind of chalky feeling, but I mean, what can you expect out of a $300 watch? It does have the see-through case back. Can't see it now, but I have it on a black NATO strap. Very comfortable. Great watch. Definitely going to get a lot of use out of it. So, also guys, I'm sorry. It's another wet, cold, rainy night here in the UK. So, if you guys hear any rain or weather outside, I apologize. We'll try to just push through. I want to give a shout out, the guy that lent me this watch, the 2003 Seamaster, Mike Z. He bought this watch from the same place that I bought my Seamaster at, AFES, a military department store. He bought this back in 2003, and I think he told me he paid about $1,500 for it, which is just crazy to me. I mean, you know, when you look at what the prices of the new Seamaster go for today, I mean, $1,500. I mean, I get inflation and all that, but it's just an awful lot of watch for the money, you know. So I kind of want to start out with this one. I got some notes here. So like I said, it's a 2003 model. This particular one, if you guys know Omega, definitely a true Bond watch. I mean, this model with this bezel and the color and everything, this is what Bond wore. I mean, like, you know, if you played those video games back in the day and watched the movies, he didn't have this on. He had this on. They did make these with a couple of quartz movements. This particular one, and also the most common that you'll find, has the 1120 ETA movement. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've been keeping track of these two watches over the past 3 days, and they both keep damn near perfect time. I think this older version is about 4 or 5 seconds slow a day, and my 2018 is about 4 seconds fast a day. So, you know, you really can't complain. The 2003 model, the bezel on it is aluminum. And you can definitely tell, you know, when you look at the new model compared to the old model, you can see the ceramic on the 2018 pops. It really does. It has a different look to it. I think the aluminum bezel has a more old school look. I think it definitely has a place for sure. I do like it. You know, it definitely brings you back to that old school Bond look. Both the watches have the same tank bracelet. Little different size though. I think the 2018 is a little wider. I think the center links are bigger, whereas the 2003 model have smaller center links and there's a little more gap between each link. As far as the buckle goes, both very similar. They both have the push button deployment clasp. Both milled out of solid steel. They're not pressed or formed. They both have the diver extension, as you can see right there. Let me pop this one open. There we go. Both very similar. One thing with the new 2018 is you have that additional extension right there that gives you 5 different micro adjustments, whereas with the 2003 model, you don't get that. I've had this watch now for about 2 months, and I really haven't had a need to use those micro adjustments. I mean, I guess if you're going to dive or if you're in a lot of hot weather and your wrist swells up, it might be useful, but I suppose it is nice to have, The next thing I want to talk about, and there's a lot of mixed reviews on this, is the solid case back on the 2003 model. So, all you guys that know Omega, and my grandfather has an old Omega, and it's just like this solid case back. You have the seahorse right there on the back. A lot of people love that. That's like the iconic Omega. It's just them, And in 2018, when they came out with this one here, Omega put a see-through case back on it. It is nice to be able to look back there, at the end of the night, at the end of a long day, and just look at what you got to wear all day and see that, that beating hard and the hairspring and all the components and the finishing. It's beautiful, But at the same time, I can see why people do love just that beautiful solid wave pattern with the seahorse. It's just so iconic. So, I get there's a mixed crowd out there. There's a lot of guys that love the see-through case back. There's a lot of guys that don't. I can see why they didn't do one with this. I'm sure the finishing of this movement back here isn't quite up to how this is, but it was a different era, different time. People had a different, I guess, a different calling and what they really wanted in a watch, It wasn't until 2012 when Omega swapped over to their ceramic bezel. So, like I said, this is a 2003. Anything from 2003 to 2011 that you would have bought would have had this aluminum bezel. And if you look really close at this one, you can kind of see a couple little scratches. I've heard the ceramic holds up a lot better than the aluminum does. However, with this watch, I will say Mike bought it in 2003, and I think he told me he had it serviced in 2019. So, when you think about that, that's what, 13, 14 years almost, of flawless timekeeping. It kept perfect time. The only reason why he really had it serviced, I think he said, was because the bracelet was starting to get a little worn and scratched. So he sent it in. They kind of overhauled the movement. I think they put a new bracelet and a new clasp on for him. But other than that, it kept perfect time. So that right there, when I bought this watch, kind of set my mind at ease, because it kind of told me, I buy this once, and yes, it hurts. Yes, it's expensive, but 15 years. That's a long time to not ever have to be concerned about a watch, change a battery, do anything. And this guy wore this watch every day, active duty, military guy, day after day. So. I think that says a lot for Omega, and kind of speaks that you get what you pay for. This one here, it's a 41 millimeter case diameter, 13 millimeters thick. With the new watch with the see-through case back, it adds to the thickness a little bit. I can definitely see. I've had this watch on for about 3 days. And when I put this one back on, you can clearly tell the difference. It's very thick, very very beefy, whereas this is a little more low key. I'll be honest, this definitely slides under the cuff a little easier, and you almost kind of forget you have it on, which to me is a good thing. So I would say for you guys out there looking at an Omega or a Seamaster, you don't need to go this route, with this new 2018 model. I think there's a lot that's offered in this. I've been on Chrono 24 and some other watch websites, and I found this one here for about $2,200 to $2,400. If you really look hard, you can find some more heavily worn models for about 16 to 1800. But you know, to be honest, at that point they're kind of getting a little too worn for my liking. I know a bracelet alone is about $400 or $500. So you know, if you're saving some money, getting one that's a little more beat, you know, I mean, are you really saving that much? Because you're gonna have to buy a new bracelet for it. So if you guys are interested, I would keep your eyes out. You know, you could definitely find a good deal. And it's a beautiful watch. I mean, I'm sure Mike's gonna get another 15 years of use out of this with no problem. The other thing I forgot to mention, actually, that I'll bring up now, that I really like about this one has raised dial markers, whereas the old one, it doesn't. It's some sort of paint, you know, and it looks good, you know, it has the same style, but these raised dial markers just jump right out at you. Really, really pop. Definitely don't do what this watch does, but you know, I suppose that's how time adapts and changes with styles and trends. Also, the date position on the new Seamaster is at the 6 o'clock. On the old one, it's at the 3 o'clock. For years, it has always been at the 3 o'clock. This is the first time that Omega put it at the 6. At least with the chrome dial here, it is pretty hard to see because the date marker backing is also in chrome. So you really kind of have to get close up and look at it. Both the dials do have the wave pattern. The new model has the ceramic dial with the I believe it's called laser etching. So you can really see the waves, but they're much more spaced apart. Whereas with the older model, they are not laser etched, but there's a lot more of them. So it has a lot more texture. But I would say the new model has a lot more depth. Both have screw down crowns, both have the same water resistance, they both have the helium escape valve. With the new model, they changed it to the cupcake style. It looks like a little cupcake, and when you unscrew it, there's a little red ring that basically presents itself, so you can tell that the helium escape valve is out. So you can screw it back in if you forgot to, whereas the old model does not have that. You just screw it out and you kind of have to just see that it's out, you know. But overall, you know, these are two beautiful watches. I'm very lucky to have both of them and to have spent a couple days with this one. Again, thank you, Mike. There's not many people that would lend a watch like this, over a long weekend, but I appreciate it, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe. You know, I'm still real new to this, so if you guys have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to put them down below. And you guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.